What is going on, YouTube? What is poppin'? What is poppin'? I'm back with another video. This is Shammy Deep. Today we got a video from Jim Breuer. He's a legendary comedian. He was in that movie Half Baked with Dave Chappelle back in the day, and he's someone I've noticed on YouTube that really speaks a lot of truth, and you can tell he's not faking it for views. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell, like, these are his real opinions and how he feels about, the world. And I recommend checking out his channel. He's got some really good stuff. But this video, I I found it to be pretty interesting. um the title is, "Are We Being Played by the Government?" And before we get into the video, I want to answer that by saying, yes, we are being played. They're playing us like a game. They're using religion, they're using sports, they're using entertainment, everything you can possibly imagine, politics, climate change, the environmental disasters. They're using everything to manipulate us, to control us, to play us as fools. And a lot of people are still stuck in this matrix of believing in the or not even just believing, they're still drinking the juice. They're still sipping the tea that's slowly killing them. And some of us, we know not to drink that. We know not to touch that. So I think at the end of the day, we need to figure out how can we flip the script on these people and turn the tides our way, the way that it's supposed to be, the way that God intended all of us to live together here on earth in harmony. The way the world is right now, this is not how we're supposed to be living. Not at all. But let's just take a look at Brewer.
The Candace and there's something. I like her, and I like Marjorie. There's something. I have a funny feeling. There's a little bit of a. All right, Marjorie, come here. Here's your script for the next 2 months. You go out and you got to say this, and make sure you promote everything before you say this is going on. Okay, I'll do it. How's my makeup? And then she did go on a little press tour. And then all of a sudden it was like, Trump's really, he's not caring for the people. No government cares for the people. No government, period, cares for people. And that's where we need to shake all of you up and wake you up. I don't care if you're in Norway. I don't care if you're in Switzerland. I don't care where you are, what your government is. I don't care if you're Republican, you're Democrat, you're a lefty, you're a righty. None of it matters. They don't care about you. I'm in Naples, Florida every day. And every day I see it's clear for like 3 hours. I go, oh my God, this is great. And then come the soulless monsters. How much does it cost to spray all the Southwest Florida?
So he's so right about that, because, like, you'll step outside, like, early in the morning, and the sky is clear, it's beautiful, you can almost smell the fresh air, right? And then you turn around like an hour or two later, and you just see streaks of, like, clouds just crisscrossing patterns all over the place. It's like, what is going on here? Like, for example, I was in Virginia over the holidays, and I kid you not, like, the entire time that I was there, there were chemtrails all over the place. Like, I was there for like 4 days. There were chemtrails all day, every day, just being sprayed all over this part of Virginia. And, like, it's a small town. Like, this is not like, big town. This is like a small town, right? And they're just loading these skies with chemtrails. I'm just like, I mean, yeah, there is an airport, nearby, so you can say that that's the reason why, but still, there's chemicals leaking from these planes, and these chemicals are super toxic, and they're they're being inhaled by all of us. We're all inhaling this stuff. You might not be able to taste it or see it or smell it, but best believe you're inhaling it. It's getting in our water, our food, our soil, and it's just crazy that we are allowing these things to happen, and people are not revolting against it. It's almost like what if like all these people that live in that area, right? Instead of them sitting on their butt and just watching football or basketball or baseball, whatever non-rigged sport they're into, instead of them sitting there and watching that, what if they all went down to their government official buildings and protested and knocked down the door and demanded that they need to stop spraying the skies? What if every state had places where people were doing this? You best believe things will change. Like we pay so much money to live here in America. We pay all this taxes, we pay all this high expensive rent, and the food is now overly expensive. The just everything is so expensive and nobody's getting paid more. I don't think anyone's getting paid more than they were, significantly more than they were prior to 2020. But yet the economy has gotten significantly worse and things have got significantly more expensive since 2020. So it's like, what are we doing? Are we why are we allowing this to happen? Like I said, if you want to stop things from happening, if you want to create change, you have to come together. You have to form a leadership group. You have to form groups of people who care about a cause or want to create change. You have to all come together and put together some type of game plan on how you're going to create awareness and bring change to the problem that you all are having. And the problem is that there's not enough leaders in this world to do it. So many people are beta performers. They're not alpha performers. They're beta performers. They're followers. They're sidekicks to the alphas. And we don't have enough alphas to lead the way, and especially not enough male alphas. A lot of the males are so the males in America are so like I hate to say it, but a lot of them are like feminine. A lot of them, they're not leaders. They're not people who stand on principle. They're not. A lot of them not even in shape. A lot of them don't even have muscles. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these males nowadays don't even have muscles. So like you can't really expect them to be leaders because they're not even a leader within their own household. It's one thing if you're a leader financially, that's different. But I'm talking about just someone who can just lead people in the right direction, whether it be mentally, emotionally. You know what I mean? Like you can help people just by your actions, by the way you perform. And we don't have a lot of males who are doing that. We don't have a lot of males who speak their mind, who stand on principles. There's a lot of females who do that, who are doing that, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but we're off balance here. You know what I mean? The balance is off in America. There's the females are taking on the male role, the male is taking on the female role, and it's creating this demonic, inverted society that's really gonna destroy us all if we don't change things and stop and slow down this train, because we're heading to a really bad and dark place unless we can turn around this boat, unless we can get everybody on this ship working together. We are going to a bad place. And we don't need to go that direction. All we need to do is go the other direction. Go to the light. Why are we going to the dark? Why are we sailing to the dark? Just go to the light. But the ones who are at the helm of this ship, of this boat, they're evil. They want us to go to the dark. They want to sacrifice all of us to the dark. and we're allowing them. It's like nobody's breaking down the cockpit. Nobody's breaking in and trying to like take back control of the ship. Everybody's just, they're just comfortable with the way things are. They're not taking initiative to change, to be better, to overcome. And I feel as if we're growing into a society where that type of way of thinking and way of being is slowly getting away from us as the generations go on. Like these young kids, they don't know anything about history. What I can tell is that these kids don't know anything about like history. They don't really know what happened even just 50 years ago in this country. A lot of them have no idea. A lot of them, all they know is the TikTok. All they know is 2020. All they know is 2016. That's all these young kids know about 2016. Oh, 2015, 2012. Like they don't know the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, and before that. They don't know what like real political things happen, real movements that happen. Unless their parents teach them these things, they don't know. And the reason they don't know is because they're not interested in looking these things up. All they're interested in is the TikToks, the Instagrams, the latest rappers, this whatever nonsense is being pushed in the algorithm, that's what these kids care about. They don't care about nothing else. And it's sad because I see it firsthand. It's not like I'm just talking out of my head. Like I see it. I have young members of my family. I have young family members and other people who I know who have kids that are around that age, and they're clueless. They're clueless to what this world is really about. They're clueless to who's really in charge. They're clueless to how things have uh, went down in this country. Like, I guarantee you go to any one of these schools, right? You go to a high school, middle school, you ask these kids what really happened in America in the 1700s, in the 1800s. What really happened back then? Ask them kids. Do they know about slavery? Do they know how severe it was? Or do they know just what the textbooks told them about slavery? Or do the textbooks even tell them about slavery to the extent where they should know? Because I mean, when I was younger, I remember when I was learning about slavery, we learned about it, but it wasn't like something that was really like, it wasn't a point of emphasis, you know what I mean? It was mostly okay, once you learned about slavery, they just moved you to Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. We learned more about that than we did about slavery. There was not an extensive like chapter about the horrors of slavery and how how bad black and brown people were treated here in America, not in a different part of the world, like in America 300 years ago. So, I really, it's sad, and I really wish that we can just snap out of this matrix, and that's what I want to do, and what I want to help people do is snap out of this matrix, snap out of this system of thinking that whatever's on the screen is real, because everything on these screens is all nonsense. It is all nonsense. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
And then these lines form, and then they spread out, and they become these thin clouds. And then, God forbid, you post it. There's always 3 or 4 people going, "Oh, you've really lost your mind, Breuer. Stay in your lane. Those are contrails." Listen, they're not contrails. They're chemicals. Chemicals stay in the air. Chemicals then not only stay in the air for a while, but then they start spreading, and they attach to other clouds. And more and more people now start, dude, Herbie, the Herbinator, who said, when I came out and I said, I'm doing shows a couple years ago, and I said, listen, I'm not going to do shows that require a vax card or for you to be vaccinated. Herbie was one of those, and he said, that's it. That's a career ender. This is really bad. Because every news network came out. Did you hear about this Jim Breuer? He's a grandmother murderer. He don't care about humanity. And I do believe we are at a place in time where you are either going to recognize the madness, you're going to recognize your government don't care about you. Your Republicans don't care about you. Your Democrats don't care about you. They are two of the same wing. And trust me, and we'll get into it. Some of you are pissed about. I don't care if you're pissed. It's time to wake. You got to wake up, and we're gonna hit a lot of that today. I'm telling you, they don't care. So what is some of the solution? We have to start. You have to start watching news, and you have to start watching all the politicians without emotion. And think of what you saw this week. You saw Trump and the mayor of New York. This was and I told you this was professional wrestling on it. This is Hulk Hogan versus Rowdy Piper back in the 80s. It's like, in this corner, we have the communist Muslim. The Muslims are taking over! The Muslims are taking over! The Muslims are taking over!
No, he's right, yo. Jim Breuer's goofy, yo. But like, yo, it is straight WWE. You know what I mean? Like, it is so fake. It's so scripted, and it's like it's everything. It's not even just news and politics. It's like everything is so fake and scripted. Like, from the sports. Don't even like. If you know me, you know that I think all sports are rigged and scripted. All professional sports. Anything that has a betting line that comes from Vegas, it is rigged, right? Even down to the music, the beefs that we see in hip hop, the Drake and Kendrick beat, that was totally scripted. That was totally done on purpose. You know, it's not even like you can't even point the finger at Drake or Kendrick. It's not their doing. It's their labels. It's the people who control them. They orchestrated this whole thing. But it's just like everything is scripted. Everything is fake. Like, I don't even watch TV anymore because it's like everything on the TV is scripted. Like from those sitcoms to the sports to the news, everything on that TV is scripted. So, but yeah, let's get back to it.
Right? That's all I hear. Like, oh, God, the Muslims are listening, and the Muslims are listening. And it's a script. It's a script. They're actors. It's all being put in our face to what? To divide you, which another phenomenal thing to learn about Lenny. This guy is incredible with pointing out dividing and how we unite, and we're going to get into it. So, and then in the other corner, and in this corner, you have a sexual harasser. He's been convicted, and he had to step down from office after murdering elderly during COVID. One of the best elderly killers, it's Mario Cuomo. Like, why are you kidding me? Who's falling for this? People are. You're still falling for it. I see people reaching out in New York going, I can't believe that Trump, and he had Trump like, one of the things that Trump, this guy, he's a devil, he's going to bring this, and next thing you know, they're hanging out. You know, he said some things, I said some things, it's all good, Illuminati side, it's all good, Illuminati side. You don't believe me? What do you think this is? Anyone? I'll tell you what, you guys try to figure out what this is. You try to tell me, is this a sign of, you're confident? That was a bad place to put the mic. No one's commenting on this. They're like, well, I'll tell you what it looks like. Jim has something to reveal about who his true father was. That's absurdly.
Yeah, it's funny he said that because it's like people, like whenever you see that pose with that pyramid pose that you see people do, almost all the time you'll see somebody on the internet saying, no, that's a position of power. That's a position of alpha dominance. It's like, no, it's not. Like, I don't understand where these people come from that just want to defend evil. They must be under the brainwashing spell if they're so eager to defend evil and deny truth. It's like that's a pyramid. And if you know anything about what the pyramid represents in America and Egypt, around the world. If you understand what pyramid represents, have you ever heard of the pyramid scheme? Like people at the top and people at the bottom. The people at the bottom serve the people at the top, and that's how it goes. It's a pyramid. Each step you serve the one above you. So the thing is that you got people out here who love to deny these things, but yet they don't offer any type of rebuttal to what it really means. They'll just regurgitate what everyone else is saying. Oh, it's a position of power. It's a position of confidence. It's like, no, it's not. You might use it in that way, but when you see these people use it, that's not how they're using it. Like when you see people throw up those devil horns, like with your ring finger, not your ring finger, your pointer finger, your pinky, and your thumb. When you see people throw up that hand gesture, right? Now you might throw it up for like to be like cool, badass, like rock star, yeah, woohoo. But like those people, when they throw it up, when you see Trump, when you see celebrities, when you see politicians, when you see athletes, when you see entertainers, when you see all these people who are on the screens throw it up, they're throwing it up because they're saying that they worship the devil. They're praising the devil. That's what how they do it. That's what they're doing it for. They're not doing it because they're like, oh yeah, rock star dude, yeah, cool dude. No, they're doing it because they're showing their alliance to the devil. Because if you want to make it on those screens, you have to show your alliance. You have to show that you are down with the get down. That's something I've always been aware. Like people have like, my OGs, they told me like, yo, if you want to get in the industry, you got to get down with the get down. And now we're seeing what that really means. All that darkness that was taking place is now coming to light. Look at what's Diddy. Like all them people who wanted to get down with with Diddy and the industry, they had to get down with the get down. And what that means is everything that Diddy's being exposed for, that's what that they were doing. They were doing all that stuff, and even worse. Even worse. And I don't even believe Diddy's really in trouble. I think Diddy is all part of the script. Diddy knew that this part of the script was coming, and he was just playing his role. He's not really in no trouble. Diddy's been loyal to these people in the industry for over 30 years. He's given up a ton of. He has allowed a ton of black people to go to hell because of what he's done in the industry. Right? He's done a lot of things that made black people, not even just black people, but like all the people who've, engaged in those activities, the people who, gave up their godly values to get down with the get down. He's really, really condemned a lot of people. And, I give him I'll give him that he is a good producer. He definitely knows how to put together a record. But it's sad that all these people they're playing for the wrong side. Let's just put it that way. you know I feel like in this world, this life for me is about how many souls can we send to heaven. I want to send as many souls to heaven as possible. I want that to be my legacy. I want to rack up the numbers on how many people I can save. And and I don't want to see the next generation fall victim to the same propaganda, because it's going to make things worse. The next generation is coming up. They're they're being targeted so bad that you have no idea. And if anyone, from the younger generation is listening to this, understand that when our ancestors, our parents and their parents, they had way more control over the minds of their childs than these cell phones and the government had over us. Like when I was growing up, my mind, yeah, I was still, I played video games. I had a phone and this and that, social media, right? Facebook, MySpace. But my parents still dominated my mind as far as like what I saw, the things that I did, the opinions that I had. It came from my family. It came from the people who I was around. Nowadays the kids are, all those things are coming from the screens. They're coming from the governments. They're coming from the rappers, the entertainers. It's not coming from the household. The household doesn't have control of the youth anymore, and that's scary. It's scary because, like, a lot of people grow when I was growing up, you believed what your parents believed. You spoke the way your parents spoke. You know what I mean? You kind of did the same things that your parents did. You were into the things that your parents did. And yeah, you had kids who rebelled and, they went astray, whatever. But for the most part, most people were raised a certain way. They were raised how their parents were raised, and it just got passed down like that. And like their beliefs, their values, right? But now it's like the parents don't have full control of their kids anymore because the parents are, there's a lot of different factors, but one of them is because they're either, working so much to make ends meet because everything's so expensive, or they just don't have enough, the I would say a lot of these parents are going through some type of mental illness themselves. They're going through some type of, mentally challenging phase in their life where they don't know how to really be a parent. A lot of them are young. We're in 2025 where, my generation is now the parents. The young parents is my generation. I was born in 96, so I'm 29 years old, and I know people who had kids at 20 years old. So their kid is almost 11 years old now, and now they're raising a generation that literally is being exposed to so many things, so many agendas. And that's scary to think that the parent that's my age, they don't know how to combat this. They don't know how to like almost influence their child the right way, because the child is so addicted to the phone that they worship the phone more than they worship people and their family and their parents. It's scary, man. It's very scary. But let's get back to this.
Look at Eric Trump during the inauguration. Eric Trump stands there, blatantly makes this sign, and his wife Laura quick makes him stop. And you can't hide it. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose. What does that mean? I don't know what it means. What does this mean when you're standing there? Don't tell me he was folding his hands. I've seen multiple people do this. He goes like this. Go look at Eric Trump inauguration. Go look it up, and you'll see him doing the hand sign. And he goes like this with his hands, and his wife goes, and he goes, oh, sorry. Like he didn't realize he was doing it. The whole world, they're gang signs. I don't know what the signs are, but it's just, we're all, in my opinion, this is a script. We're all being played. Are you guys looking at it right now? Yeah. Oh, there you go. Let me see. Yeah, what? Well, that's not it. Well, that was not at the, it's the inauguration. But you got to see, that's misleading right there. That just kind of looks like he's hanging out, which his dad does all the time. But you watch him, he literally walks, he plants his feet, then he goes like this. Who hangs out like that? Have you ever walked into a place, you're like, okay, we'll let you in a second. Okay. Like, what is that? And then your wife play that video. Why does she make him stop it? Watch. Yeah, what just happened there? If he's not, what, is this not polite? What is that? What, I don't know what it is. I'm asking you. Maybe we should ask him. Maybe we should ask Laura. I don't know. She was coming on the show, by the way. And then what happened? Her management she was all excited. I had great conversations with her. I met Eric multiple times. What is that? It's just, I don't know. I'm getting the feeling, most humanity, I'm getting tired of being played. I'm getting tired of watching everyone bicker over the same nonsense. Do you really, Marjorie? Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I liked her clips. You know, there was a clip of her talking to someone in England, and I don't know, they were talking about, your gun control. And she's like, go back to the country you deserve. We like guns in America. Like, all right, I'm digging Marjorie right now. I'm digging Marjorie. But I don't know this is a fact. She went in with a certain amount of money, and she's walking out, from what I heard, $25 million. How do you make that much money in that short amount of time? I don't know if that's a fact. Maybe she can explain that. I did like some of the things she said. And listen, she definitely said things that are on the pulse of America. And when I say the pulse, most people are questioning a lot of things right now. We want to know, why is our tax money funding this? Why is our tax money? Bro, I go so far in the rabbit hole that I'm finding out tax is voluntary. You volunteer to do it. So
Yeah, yeah, he's right. Tax is voluntary. You know, it's really against your constitution to actually pay taxes, to be forced to pay taxes. You know what I mean? But when they've set up this Federal Reserve System, you know, the dollar bill system, they manipulated the rules where they've made it almost like if you don't pay, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? Like it's really crazy what they've done. It's so sick and demonic, and I just and it's also crazy how you're forced to pay this money, but you don't have a say in where it goes. You don't vote to say where the money is being divided and goes. Are you kidding me? Like this is what I mean. Like generations before us, you know, they should have stood up for this. And I'm sure there were people who did, but there just weren't enough people. There wasn't enough people who stood up for the rights to basically be free. And you know, honestly, in America, we like to say we're free, but we're not. We're probably the most enslaved people on earth by our taxes, by how much debt we're all in, by you know, just the chemicals that we're getting exposed to. Like we are being tormented here in our own land, but and then we're also being manipulated to think that we are the greatest and most free nation in the world. Honestly, you know, I have family who came from Jamaica, right? And they tell me that in Jamaica life was so much better. Yeah, they didn't have much. Yeah, they didn't have a whole lot of this and that, but they had each other. They had what they needed to survive, and they were happy. But when they came to America, it just became so much stressful. Yeah, they had more money, but they had so many more responsibilities. They had so much pressure on them, and the family aspect disappeared, you know, because it just became about survival. It came about, okay, how can I pay this on time? How can I get this? How can I get that? And it really messed up their, you know, the dynamics in family, you know. Like unless you stick together, you know, it's hard to make it in America by yourself. And some people choose to be selfish and, you know, be to themselves. And that's the problem, is that so many people have lost their way because of the capitalistic system we're under, you know. They've lost their humanity, they lost their dignity. And it's sad to see that, you know. Like people in Jamaica and those other islands, yeah, they might not have a lot. They might be real poor or whatever, but I guarantee you their stress levels are way lower than ours here in America. They're living much more of a comfortable, happier life than we are. And we have all the money, we have all the land and resources and this and that, but I'm telling you, people out there are much more happier. And I'm talking on like on a wide scale, not just like a small percentage. Like on a general wide scale, I can say I can bet money that those people are more happier than we are here in America.
we have to pay taxes? Can we find that out? Can you imagine we all had the balls enough to go, we're not paying taxes this year. But you know what? There's too many fairies in here. Too many They can't. Who are they coming after? If we all did, how amazing would that be? Think about the things that your favorite president, listen, I was all for this guy. But you know what? They found all this money. Remember? Oh, we found $20 billion here, 30 billion. Did you get a check? Did you get a check? Did anyone get a check? I go to gas. Gas is still over $3 in Naples, Florida. I went and bought milk the other day. It was like $9 for milk.
Yo, I remember when gas, probably like 10 years ago, because I bought my car, my first car, I bought a Ford Focus. I bought it in 2015. No, yeah, I bought it in 2015, right? No, wait, I'm lying. No, I graduated high school in 2015. I bought my first car in 2016. So almost 10 years ago. Yo, gas was $1.90. $1.90 gas. Yo, I get why people like 2016. Like 2016 was lit. Like it was definitely a good year. The economy was going well. The only thing about 2016 that sucked was that Trump came into office and he messed everything up after that. But like, yo, 2016 gas was no lie, $1.90. Like $20 was filling my tank, like 100%. And food was, very reasonable price. I remember milk and eggs weren't no $10. Like I remember it was probably like what, over the summer or a little bit before that, eggs were like what, $15 for a dozen of eggs. I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, why are eggs so expensive? Bro, eggs were probably like $5 the most in 2016, maybe $8. Milk, $3, $4 or $5 if you're getting the organic stuff or the almond milk, but like no more than that. It's really crazy, man. It's super crazy.
Milk! Are you kidding me? So I don't want to hear the prices are down while we're funding another country to launch bombs. And when we have our leader going, I gave him a lot of bombs, and he knew how to use them. And now we have peace. Oh, that's how we solve peace. It's madness. It's all.
Yeah, and again, it's just a bunch of white people killing brown people. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care what nation you say it is. It is white people killing brown people. That's it. And it's always been that way. It's always been America funds white people to kill brown people, and they're not going to stop. Why? Because we're allowing these things to happen. Think about when 9/11 happened. Think about how many people in America hated brown people after that. They hated brown people. Like they were attacking brown people. For no good reason, because these people were fooled and bamboozled into thinking that those buildings came down because of one brown guy in a cave. And so now the entire nation of America hates brown people. People have nothing to do with all that are now subject to hate and violence. Understand how crazy that is. Understand how barbaric that is. And idiotic that is to think that way. That's how much trust these people have in their government. And like Jim Breuer said, the government doesn't care about you. The government, they actually hate you. Only thing they care about is that you pay them taxes. All we are tax cattle to them. We are a number on a list. That's why everyone who's born in this country gets a social security number. And they keep track of everything. They keep track of all that. And that's all you are. They don't care about if you vote red or if you vote blue. They don't care if you care about abortion or if you don't care about abortion. Like they don't care. But what they do care is that they care that you remain ignorant, you remain stuck in the system, you remain in debt to them, and you remain watching the rigged sports. You remain eating the garbage food, the sugary filled food that's going to give you diabetes and cancer and lead to you having dementia because all the sugars are attacking your brain. That's what they're hoping for. That's what they want. They want us to be like this. They want us to remain, you know, basically in the state where we're just okay with everything happening. We're okay with being stabbed. We're okay with being tortured. And we're thinking it's like we're on a slaughterhouse, and they want us to just be okay with being slaughtered each day, thinking there's no life outside the slaughterhouse. Only thing that exists and only thing that matters is life inside this farm and this factory. And that's why they don't want you going out too far. That's why everyone has to have a passport, and you can't go to a country, you can't go somewhere on this earth without a passport. Like, so dumb. Like, imaginary borders telling me I have to have this piece of paper for me to go to this place. Like, are you kidding me? Oh, it's just crazy how we've allowed these shackles in our mind to hold us down.
Madness. So, with that said, I had the big talk about bringing some noise. I don't want to bring the noise. See, I get amped up. I don't like it. I don't like the noise. And that's why I like peace. And I feel like we need a time where peace, we need answers. We don't need to be constantly aggravated. You know, I get my friends will text me and they go, "Can you believe this? Can you believe that?" This has been from the beginning of time. They know you're not going to do nothing. They know you can't wait for your football game this Sunday. They know you still pay $10 for a venti latte mocha latte with sprinkles on it at Starbucks. They know you're going to pay taxes. They know you're just going to complain. They know you're just going to go, "I can't believe they're spraying the skies again." They just know. They're laughing in our faces, but it's time, people. This ain't, it was only, what are we, 2025? It was only 5 years ago they locked down the whole world. The whole world. It was only 5 years ago where they divided every family. It was only 5 years ago. Only 4 years ago, they were still trying to do that. They were still, only 3 years ago, they were rioting all of it. In my opinion, this has been one of the biggest moves of a grand empire takeover, not only of the U.S., of the entire world. Of the entire world. And I can't help to think about hearing Bob Marley's words over and over: all governments are illegal. All governments are illegal. There's been places where I've been to Africa where, and you know what, forget Africa. Where I grew up in Long Island, we had neighborhoods. And in the neighborhood, we all knew each other. We may not like each other, but we knew each other. And if someone stepped out of line, we, as the community, dealt with it. We didn't have to call the cops. We didn't have to go get a judge. We didn't have to worry about a law or who was going to let them go. We didn't have to worry about any of that. I went to Africa, and I went to a village there, and at the village, I asked them, you guys are going to see this. I filmed it. You're going to see it. That's coming down the pike. That's coming up. The elders, I said, what do you do when things, like if someone gets out of line? They said the elders, the older ones, the wise ones, they get together and they decide how bad of a situation this is. They then go to the home and they discuss it with the family and the person that did this deed. I remember being a part of Africa where we were driving in a van, and we were with a woman in a car, and everywhere we went there were kids everywhere. And in one of the tables, she basically had like a little craft she made and some clothes. And the lady in the van, we were going to a museum, and the lady in the van goes, "I can't believe these kids are there's like kids everywhere, just no one watching them, and there's things on the table. They would steal that. Are you kidding? If that was left out in New Jersey and New York, I mean, they would just take it." And the driver stopped, and he said, "Let me tell you," I don't know how to do an African accent, but he goes, "Let me tell you something. This neighborhood, if someone were to come and steal something, everybody in this neighborhood would chase that human being down, grab what they did, and make sure they never do that again. They would never."
Yeah, and that's how it should be. It should be where your community, the people that you live around, you guys can come together and decide and make decisions about how things should operate in your state, in your environment, in your village, in your town, in your city. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be that you just rely on a police state. A police state that's ran by the government, right? Like it's a police state that's funded 100% by the government, and that same government is the one that's giving you this democracy, giving you the rigged elections and everything else on TV. We shouldn't rely solely on them to just create, to fix our problems, to give us solutions. We need to get solutions on our own. We need to be able to take accountability for ourselves, for the people in our community. So if someone does wrong, there's like a council of people who come together to decide what the next action is going to be. That is how you're supposed to run a country. Have a council of people who are not paid and bought for, people who really care about the community, people who really care about the future. That is how you're supposed to run a democracy. Not pick your best, one of the two best people that, it's like, yo, they literally just say, okay, we're going to give you a list of people here, 5 people, now you pick which one you want, and all 5 of them are on the same team. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally how the presidential election works. It's like, and then it comes down to the two most popular ones, and both of them are literally in bed with each other. When cameras are off, those people are having dinner together. Their families hang out. They do weird rituals together behind closed doors because these people are all satanic. They all worship devil. But when they get on camera, they are the enemy. They are foes, right? They try to manipulate you to thinking that they're on your side. It's all a game, and these people are running game on us. And those who can see, we see it. We've been seeing it. I've been awake for years, over a decade now. For almost, I would say I've been awake for 2 decades, and I'm 29. So that tells you how long I've seen through the nonsense. And I remember when I was younger, I used to get ridiculed for speaking out about these things. I was one of the only few black kids that lived in a white town. Went to school with all white people, and I was thankful for the white people who I went to school with because they gave me a new perspective on life. I saw a different way of living. I saw a lot of big mansions in my town. My friends, they lived in big houses. They came from wealth, and I saw the way that they were raised and the things that they did and things that they were into. It was much different than my own family and the community I'm used to being around. Like, my family is from the South, North and South Carolina. So I was raised by a traditional black family. So uh, it was really a blessing for me to be able to see both sides of this world. I can interact with white people just as well as I can interact with black people. So it's like I really was thankful for that experience. And white people, I don't have anything against white people. They've treated me very nice. I've had dinner with them. I've been in their homes. I slept in their homes many of times. They've invited me over, and I'm very thankful for that. Very nice people. And obviously there's bad ones out the lot, but like for the most part, white people, if they like you, they're very nice people. And that goes for any group of people here in America. If they like you, they find that you're someone who's not like someone who has like respect for themselves and other people, and also the way you carry yourself. It's all about how you carry yourself. And that's what I be trying to tell these young black kids. I'm like, yo, you can't you can't just go out here talking all this slang, talking like you don't have no like education. You can do that with your homeboys, with your homegirl. You try to hang out, you try to be cool and this and that. But when you get around other groups of people, when you get around other age groups and other cultures and stuff, you can't walk and talk like that around them. Like you sound silly. You sound uneducated when you walk and talk like that. You got to learn how to speak their other languages and not just like literally like Spanish, French. Yeah, if you can learn those languages, that's great. But I'm saying like you got to learn how to walk the way these people walk, to talk the way they talk. You got to learn how to move the way they move so you can have the advantage. You can have the one up on these people. you know. And it's not like in a devious way. It's like in a way where you can have confidence when you're around different group of people. You can be confident that you can survive and interact and mingle with people who don't look like you, may not believe the things that you believe, or whatever. But as long as you are confident around them, and you know that you can, communicate with them, that's what's important. So I told young kids in my family, I'm like, yo, when you go to college, make friends with other groups of people. Don't just have black friends like you had in high school and whatever. Like, make other groups of friends. Like, when you go to college, college is the perfect place to meet other people. Have Asian, like, go meet a group of Asians and hang out with them. Go meet a group of white people, hang out with them. Latinos, hang out with them. Like, Indians, hang out with them. Like, meet group of people and see what you like, see who you like, and then you'll know how to interact with people more. You'll be a better people person. And then when you become a real adult, and you go out and you try to find work and this and that, you know how to conduct yourself, and you become a likable person. You become somebody. And then when you do interact with different groups of people, you gain knowledge, you gain experience, and that is what's going to help you further in life. You're going to be able to understand things. You're going to have more knowledge and awareness about different cultures and how they do things and their holidays and this and that, and that's just going to make you a better person, you know. So I just really, I hate to see these young black kids just subject themselves to the hood mentality. It's like, yo, like, there's a whole world out there for you to discover. But you gotta be okay with breaking away from the herd. You gotta be okay with being viewed as, oh, he's a lame, or she's corny, she's whack, she's weird, he's weird. You gotta be okay with what other black people saying that, because they're conditioned. Those black people are conditioned to hate on anything that's different than what they think is cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. They hate. They don't want to step outside those boundaries because of fear. Those people have a lot of fear in them. And that goes back to slavery. All that energy that we suffered from slavery, us black people, that energy is still within us. The hating energy, hating on one another, the fear energy. The all that energy is just, it doesn't die. It just gets passed down. So, never be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Yeah, it's easier said than done, but the earlier you understand that, the better off you are, right? Um, and it's just, and just don't be closed minded. Be open minded to new things. Now, always keep in mind, like, what's good and what's bad. Don't just be open minded to things that are bad for you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be gullible. You want to be kind of thoughtful about what you engage in and who you hang around. Always be aware of that. All right, let's finish this video. We got about less than 2 minutes.
Disrespect another human being like that. I don't know what type of society you live in. And that's where we have to start thinking deeper. We've been conditioned to think we're so much better, so much smarter, so much freer. That's the big word we like. We're free, right? Aren't we free? Oh my God, we're free. Unless you text the wrong thing. We're free. Unless you talk about certain countries. We're free. Unless you do certain things. We're free. Unless you're not into vaccines. We're free. We're not free. I don't even believe we vote. I really don't. I learned this a long time ago. I remember asking my dad, why does the news say, the latest polls say so-and-so is winning? What is the point of putting a poll in your face? I'll tell you what I think it is. It's to condition your mind. It's really that simple. Jerry's beating Billy. So no, you might as well not even come out, because Billy, it's clear that he's going to win. Jerry's just crushing it. Jerry's just murdering him. They're already telling you how it's going to go down. Has anyone out there in the audience ever been polled? Who's getting polled? I don't know anyone that's ever been polled in my lifetime, ever. I don't like getting caught up in the madness. When I go on tour, I'm not going to be talking about madness. I'm going to be talking about things that will bring light.
This thing, it looks like...
Okay, so hate these ads. They YouTube's so quick to pull up an ad in front of your face. But yeah, Jim Breuer, if you guys want to give him a look, he's a very smart guy, very funny guy, and he really is talking a lot of truth out there. He's putting a lot of truth out there. He's got a great channel here, and it's fairly popular channel too. He has got a lot of. Does he do live streams? Looks like. Yeah, it looks like he does do live streams. Yeah, yeah. He's got a lot of good information, but his stuff that he's putting out now is the real gems. But yeah. So also let me plug my channel. You want to see my channel? Cause this is my channel. I'm trying to get my channel up to date with all like the latest information. But I got a lot of different content on here. I got my music here. I got you know me in the studio. I got some of these messages I have where I'm just talking, venting, podcast talk. I got some more podcast episodes where we take a deep dive into things happening in the world and conspiracy stuff like that. Um, and I'm trying to just raise awareness. That's really my goal, to raise awareness. And I feel like if I can do that, then I'm doing my part. All right, everyone. Thanks again for the video. Thanks again for checking me out. Listen to what I got to say. And I hope to see you again. Take care. Peace.